let's take a little step, kind of think in the future. In the next several years, we will be completely moving to the core curriculum. Talk about, and either one of you who wants to chime in on this, talk about how this will affect students as far as assessments. Will we still have the MSA? Will there be a whole different set of assessments? How will students' growth and be monitored in terms of their own progress?
Well, one of the things that is really key is that whole application of knowledge, and students not only being able to demonstrate knowledge of a specific content,
right,
but being able to see how the different contents kind of interweave to be a problem solver, to be a critical thinker. That's really a big focus of the core curriculum, would you agree?
Yeah.
But when you think about that piece, the assessment piece is really going to change,
right,
because there'll be a big focus. In fact, there are two different groups who are working on developing assessments that will be computer-based, which will be a big change for all of our students and staff, because that idea of taking their assessments on the computer, up to this point we've only really had limited grades, grades 5 and 8. 3, 5, and 8? 5 and 8.
5 and 8.
Right.
5 and 8 taking the science online.
Correct.
So this will be a big shift in the way that they are being assessed, but it'll be much more an interconnected curriculum.
Correct.
Where the assessment will be blended, not necessarily content in isolation, but more the interweaving of reading, writing, math, and the science piece as they all come together, and then looking at how that applies to social studies and civic responsibility. And
right.
And we're excited at the elementary level because we're going to move more towards the performance assessment.
Okay.
So, you know, students lately have been doing more of the fill in the blank, the multiple choice. We call them BCRs, where they write short answers. And we'll be moving towards more of the performance-based assessments, where students actually build projects, create things, and in that way can really integrate what they know about reading, writing, math, and science all at once to create something project-based, and then that would be your assessment. So I know at the elementary level we're always excited when we can do things in themes and in projects and things like that. So,
well, you know, I guess I'm defining my age here a little bit. I've worked in the state of Maryland my entire career and in several different school systems, but lived through the first wave of reform, which then the main assessment during that period of time was MSPAP. And I was a teacher during that period of time and a principal, but I was so excited during that period of time because of some of the pedagogy and the strategies that we were doing. We were doing a lot of performance-based, authentic assessments, portfolios, a variety of things where students were able to show what they knew as opposed to kind of tell what they knew through a bubbled kind of sheet on things. But in many ways, we're kind of going back to that. Problem with MSPAP was it was school performance, not necessarily individual performance. MSA gave us the individual performance and left behind some of those individual, very high level, higher order thinking kind of skills. Are you seeing sort of a marrying of two of those coming together? Tell me about that, Brian.
Well, I think that we've learned some things through both assessments, and you know, we very much value the idea of performance-based assessment. We didn't want to be so scattershot with what we were assessing. If you just throw it out a project, you're not exactly sure what you're even looking for. MSA did a great job of really targeting the exact skill that you were trying to assess, and now we're going to do both things. So we are going to target our assessment, we're going to know exactly what the learning targets are, and at the same time allow students to do that through projects and through performance-based assessments. Right,
and you just, your explanation just reminded me of some thoughts that I had during those periods of time. The analogy we would always use was ready, fire, aim, and then kind of with MSA it was ready, aim, fire. And now maybe kind of getting all that together with, you know, bringing those things together in that sense. Dawn, you alluded to something I want you to swing back around and follow up with, and I want to understand both of your perspectives on this. The big difference with these assessments coming is the expectation that they will be done online. So I want the community to understand that we have spent the lion's share, or will be spending the lion's share of our allocation of Race to the Top dollars, that $1.6 million, on enhancing our technology infrastructure, making certain we have the correct bandwidth that will allow for the wireless components to happen in our school, that we will have the number of necessary machines, going to mobile carts and things such as that. But I want you to talk a little bit about that, and I'd like for you then to talk about how do you think that's going to be for some of the younger kids, the younger students at the elementary level? What things are we going to have to do for them to bring them up to speed? So there's several things I want you to hit upon there, and I'd like to hear both perspectives.
Recently, funny that you mentioned that, we were looking at the writing curriculum, and in the 6th grade writing curriculum, it talks about students being able to word process 3 or more pages in a single sitting.
Right.
And that's in the English language arts part of the curriculum. So it's that integration again of technology skills within the curriculum. And teachers starting to think about that. They really haven't had a typing or word processing class.
Right, exactly.
That exposure maybe to type to learn at elementary, or been working with a computer, but learning that piece. And we do have some students in middle school who still take that information technology class.
Right.
But it's not something that all students have the opportunity to take. So as we talk about that, giving kids those experiences, staff are really looking at how do we balance that use of technology and everybody still having the opportunity to use it in different contents.
Right.
Across the building. So that piece will be challenging, and giving kids access to technology enough on a regular basis so that they can develop those skills and not have it be in a specialized class.
Right.
I think that would really be an impact for elementary as well, because when you
Sure.
think, where would that instruction fit in the day?
Yeah.
And interestingly, in the 4th grade core, it's 1 page of a word process, and then it builds from there in 5th grade and then 6th
Okay.
grade and so on. So, at least the core recognizes that, there are developmental levels, and, you have to move through those. With that, already in 2nd grade, we have begun assessments in math on a site called Moodle, and students are already
Correct.
having access to that. They're practicing. Of course, the first time that we did it, the 2nd graders were confused. It was difficult. We've done it a few times now. They're no longer confused
Right.
or surprised by it. It's become part of their routine.
Right.
And I anticipate a lot of the technology is, but you are absolutely right. We're going to have access, machines and the technology, all of those things working together to make sure that the students are ready. But they have to be when they graduate from high school
Exactly.
and from college. So that's our job.
And that's a wonderful way to put it. As we hit that button to upload, we have to make sure all the infrastructure is there, which leads to another component of Race to the Top, which is the longitudinal data system. And I know that we're heavily involved in that as well, but as we step back a little bit and frame this again for our parents and community, is that the purpose of this reform is to make certain that all children are ready for college and ready for careers. The whole purpose is college ready and career ready so that students can be productive citizens in society and be contributing to the betterment of mankind in terms of our overall nation. So we have to keep that in mind, but recognizing that longitudinal data system is building from one year to the next vertically. We always talk about at our levels, talking about making certain that students understand the 4th grade curriculum. Those days are gone where just the 4th grade curriculum is important. The curriculum before that builds from one year to the next. And so now teachers, not just 4th grade teachers are talking together, but they're talking to the 3rd grade teachers and the 5th grade teachers as we build upon that knowledge. And this database, this information we get from the assessments, will all be pulled together so that if you are a 8th grade teacher or a 12th grade teacher, wherever you are, you'll be able to see the cumulative records of every child's performance, see their learning gaps, and make adjustments as we go. Because ultimately, the thing that we're ramped up the most about in this county is making certain every child graduates from high school, that they are ready for that career in college, so that we make those decisions along the way, that focus with the curriculum, all these leaning into it. Well, you can tell we've had a very wonderful interaction. We have 2 very talented teachers in our school system. I'd like to thank you for joining in. Continue to stay tuned for further episodes of this show that will be very informative throughout the year to tell you further things that we're focusing on within the school system. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.